right. I will number 10 is I will check the fuel level. We need to check every once in a while to make sure that the original problem is still occurring and that our original assumptions about why it's occurring are still correct. Remember the idea that the simplest solution is the most likely explanation? If I walk into a room and I flip the light switches and the lights don't come on, I'm probably not going to think that we're at war with Canada and they've dropped an EMP over my house. Instead, I'm going to think that my light bulb burnt out. And so, checking the fuel level, making sure that your original assumptions were correct and that the problem is still occurring. So I want you to write down a statement or two about how you could go about checking your fuel level. Rule number 11 is, I will get another perspective. Once again, my apologies for the stereotype, but gentlemen, sometimes it really is best to pull over when you're lost and get directions. I know that that stands against everything you believe in, that you would rather drive around the countryside lost for days on end eating top ramen rather than pull over and ask for directions. But sometimes getting another perspective can add something to the program and can help you find the problems that you're having. If I come back to that medical show house, that's what he did, getting another perspective. I can remember one time that he had chased his entire team away, and he was down in the basement with a janitor bouncing ideas off of a janitor that had no medical experience whatsoever. But just being able to voice it, being able to talk to somebody else about it, having another set of eyes look at it, can help you discover what the problem is. I was riding the elevator on the Davis campus a couple of days ago, and there was a flyer in the elevator. And the only thing that I remember as I'm reading through this flyer was that they had spelled the word computer wrong. They had repeated UT, and the word computer. And this was a beautiful full cover flyer on a really nice heavy paper. And I'm thinking if whoever had created that flyer had just showed it to somebody else, it would have taken him about one read through or 20 seconds to be able to figure out that they had spelled that word wrong. But because we look at something over and over and over again, we can become immune to the errors. We can just begin to read in things that are not there or skip over things that are. And so it's really important to get another perspective, to show it to somebody else, to talk to somebody else about it. So if we were in a classroom, I'd put a couple of groups together, and I would have you I'd have your group share your problem with the other group, and then share with them some of the solutions that you'd come up with, and I'd give the other group a chance to give some feedback. But since we're not in a group environment, I'm going to see if there's another student or a friend or a beloved or a family member that you can just bounce an idea off of and go in with them not having any idea what your problem is. Just tell them what it is. Tell them some of the solutions that you've come up with. And then get their perspective and write down what you find out. All right, so these last two rules are, once you have solved the problem or fixed it, we're going to verify that it's actually fixed. Number 12 says, I will check that the problem is fixed. Bugs don't generally go away on their own. You have got to find them and you've got to fix them. They don't go away on their own. And I would say in life, most of the time, problems don't go away on their own either. I know that for a long time, I have a tiny little chihuahua. And when he would jump off the couch, just randomly, every once in a while, he would scream out really loud. Or if he was sitting on my lap and I reached down and touched him, he would cry out like he was in pain. And I have tried for months to repeatedly try to find out where it was occurring and when. I would move his little legs around and touch his shoulders and move his head, and I could never replicate the problem. And so I am pretty sure that at some point in the future, that problem is going to fix itself. Because if it's bone cancer or some kind of a brain tumor, at some point, the dog is not going to have that problem anymore. And so if I'm willing to wait for that, instead of taking him to the vet to see what the problem is, maybe you can publish your code with the problems intact until your clients, the ones that are paying money for your software, can find the errors and tell you that it needs to be fixed. And rule number 13 says, I will ask 3 questions. The first question is this occurring somewhere else? Once I've fixed a bug, is this same bug occurring somewhere else? Because if I caused it the first time, there's a very good chance that it might be happening somewhere else. The second question is, what bug is hidden behind this one? Because a lot of times when I fix one problem, I actually find out that there were a whole bunch of other problems or maybe another problem hidden behind it, and I could never get to that place in my source code to even find out that that problem occurred. So is there another bug that is hidden behind this one? And the third question is, how can I prevent this from happening again? What can I do? Write sticky notes or notes to myself, or document my code, or do I make a public service announcement and publish it on the internet or on the TV? I mean, what steps could I take in order to prevent this from occurring again? So the last thing that I would like you to do is I would like you to write down what steps that you could take to prevent this problem, the one that you've chosen to solve today. What steps could you take to stop this from happening again in the future? All right, these are the 13 I's. They are very, very valuable to you as you move through your software programming and your software design skills. I don't know how effective they were in solving the problem that you chose today, but they can be very important in debugging your software programs. So let me know if you have any questions.